वेदर्षयः समारभ्य वेदान्ताचार्या मध्यमाः योगीरां सुरत्कुमारपर्यन्तं वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां रत्नाकराधौतपतां हिमालयकिरीटिनीं ब्रह्मराजऋषिरत्नाढ्यां वन्दे भारतमातरम्. Salutations and adorations to all the great preceptors of the holy land of Bharatavarsha, right from the Vedic Rishis to the great Vedanta Acharyas, to my Diksha Guru Yogi Ram Surat Kumar Maharaj. Salutations and adorations to our holy motherland Bharatavarsha, whose crown is the Himalayas, whose feet is washed by three great oceans, and who is adorned with the jewels of Brahma Rishis and Raja Rishis. In the course of this Vijnana Bharati series of lectures, we have found how Sanatana Dharma, or that which is known as Hindu Dharma, had its origins in the most ancient Vedas, and the Vedic philosophy of Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. It developed in the later days philosophical systems, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, etc. And then religious systems like Vaishnavism, Shaivism, Shaktism, Kaumaram, Shauram, Ganapatyam, and the Nastika Darsanas like Buddhism, Jainism, Charvaka, etc. All these philosophical thoughts which emerged from the peak of the Vedic Himalayas, like the mighty Ganges coming down through plains, nourishing and nurturing, when it came down, it promoted the development of various philosophical schools. We saw the philosophers Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Vallabha, and many others. They developed various philosophical schools. Advaitam, Dvaitam, Vishishtadvaitam, Dvaitadvaitam, Shuddhadvaitam. So many philosophical schools emerged out of this thought, mighty Ganges of Vedic thought. And following that, we also found the emergence of various Bhakti movements. People adhering to the worship of different deities, they created a cult. Each one created a cult of adoration and worship of that particular deity. And we saw Sauram, Kaumaram, Ganapatyam, etc. emerging. And in later days, especially in the medieval period, Bharatavarsha, the sacred land of Bharat, saw the emergence of Bhakti movements. Great saints, they promoted this Bhakti movement. Earlier, the philosophical systems, Vedas, Upanishads and other things, they were in the hands of a limited number of few people, learned people, Pandits, Brahmanas, like that. And these philosophical schools and systems were brought down to the ordinary ground level so that the common man in the street, the ordinary man, the worker, the laborer, the farmer, the cobbler, the barber, all of them derived inspiration because of the Bhakti movement started by great saints and sages. Of the modern period, medieval period, we saw after the advent of the Mughals, the onslaught of the Mughals on Hinduism also created a force in the country to awaken the common people, because dharma depends on the ordinary man, and they must be awakened, they must be made strong in their faith to their dharma, and therefore the great modern saints like Chaitanya and others, they promoted this bhakti movement and brought this adoration and worship of that ultimate reality in various names and forms to the common people through these bhakti movements. We also found that in the modern period, medieval period, this bhakti movement took to two great streams. One, bhakti, adoration of Lord Ram, and another one, adoration of Lord Krishna. Both are incarnations of Narayana. But great poets and saints, through their writings, they had promoted one or the other among the common masses. Tulsidas Ramacharita Manasa, it came down to the ordinary people, even the villagers, cobblers and barbers. They sat in their homes, in their shrines, and they started reading because they were in the vernacular language. Earlier, all our religious literature were in Sanskrit, classical Sanskrit, and it was not accessible to the common run who were ignorant of that classic language. Therefore, they came down into the vernacular form, Ramacharita, and we also found the bhakti movement centered around Krishna, the gathas of Meera and other great saints in vernacular languages. They promoted these two streams mainly, the worship of Ram and the worship of Krishna. So we find that in the modern period, in the medieval period, the emergence of these two streams, these bhakti movements, one centered around Ram and the other one centered around Krishna. We found that in the movements centered around Ram, the prominent saints, we had seen Ramananda, Kabir, Guru Nanak, Tulsidas. These people promoted adoration and worship of Ram as Ishta Devata, especially the Ramacharita Manasa of Tulsidas. It was a great inspiration for the common people. Then, on the other side, this Ram movement was mostly in Maharashtra area, I mean in the North Indian area, in the northwest area. There, these people developed these. In the southern part, we find the development of bhakti movement centered around Krishna, especially in Maharashtra. Great saints like Jnaneshwar, Namdev, Ekanath, Tukaram, Nimbarka, and Jayadeva. We found that these saints in Maharashtra and the adjacent states, they developed this bhakti movement centered around Krishna. And even in this movement centered around Krishna, there were two separate cults. One, Krishna as Panduranga Vittal and Rukmayi. Rukmani, according to the legends, the Puranas, he is the consort of Lord Krishna. So in Maharashtra area and other places, the adoration and worship of Krishna as Panduranga Vittal, Pandharpur was the center for this Krishna worship as Vittal. Even today, the Pandharpur Yatra takes place, hundreds and thousands of people participate in it. So centered around Vittal, Rukmani, that developed in the form of a bhakti movement. Whereas in the northern part, still northern part in Brindavan, etc., there bhakti was centered around Radha and Krishna. Here it was Rukmayi in Maharashtra. There, Radha, another consort of Krishna, another name for the consort of Krishna. She, the heroine of Krishna, and adoration and worship of Radha Krishna, it developed in the northern parts, northern states especially, and we saw how Jayadeva had taken this Radha Krishna worship to its most popular form. Jayadeva's Gita Govinda, it became very popular among the common people. Even today, in almost all the bhajans, wherever you go, when there are bhajan programs, singing of Jayadeva's Gita Govinda, Ashtapati they are called, it is very popular, singing of Ashtapati. Even the Ashtapati, even in that Ashtapati, Jayadeva presents the descent of Lord in various forms. The Dashavataras, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, all these are presented. Pralaya Payojidele, telling that it's how the Pralaya at the time, fish incarnation, tortoise incarnation, and then the other Narasimha, Vamana, all these incarnations are beautifully presented by Jayadeva, but all are centered around Krishna is the one who has taken all these incarnations. That cult was, today the Hare Krishna movement also propagates that cult. So that cult centered around Krishna, it was propagated by Jayadeva in his Gita Govinda. And another speciality is this Gita Govinda and songs of Meera. Meera Bhai was another great devotee of Lord Krishna. And these, they propagated a romantic form of love towards Krishna. Krishna as beloved. Even the Bhaktas, they considered themselves as gopis or the divine consorts of Krishna. So, considering themselves as the consort of Krishna and adoring and worshipping him, in Gita Govinda we found even the ordinary tendencies of romantic love, they are all depicted there. We saw Radha getting infuriated when she sees Krishna dancing with other gopis. She becomes jealous, and we saw she asks Krishna, how can you leave me and go behind those gopis? But Krishna is trying to convince her. He tell her that he didn't go anywhere. She asked, no, these flowers are on your head. Where from you got these flowers? These are the gopis' flowers. Then he says, no, I came through the flower garden. At that time, the flowers fell. She asked, how these gopis, vermilion marks are on your cheeks. And there Krishna says, look here, my mother, Yashoda, she put all these marks on her forehead so that the others may not cast it. So such romantic scenes, just as you see in a modern film, these are all presented very beautifully by Jayadeva in the Gita Govinda. The purpose is to inspire ordinary common people. The common run, they are not worried about the great philosophies, Jiva, Brahma and all those things. They are concerned about the day-to-day life and day-to-day romance, etc. And therefore Jayadeva presented all these ideas through those forms in order to develop the complete or unstinted adoration and worship of Lord Krishna. And we found, following Jayadeva, Vishnu Swami was another great religious leader. He started the Rudra Sampradaya, and Jiva Goswami and others, Krishnadas, all these, they also developed this Sampradaya through Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavata Samarambha. All these, they propagated the Rudra Sampradaya. Rudra Sampradaya is the oldest of the four recognized Sampradayas. And Vishnu Swami was one of the leaders of that Sampradaya. And the philosophy propagated by Vishnu Swami, it is known as Shuddha Advaita. Shuddha Advaita means pure monism. There is nothing other than Krishna. Everything is Krishna, Krishna only. Even the blade of grass is Krishna. So everything is Krishna and it is Shuddha Advaita. In his method of worship, Vishnu Swami gives prominence to Rama, the previous avatar before Krishna. Vishnu Swami visited Puri and founded the Jagannath Vallabha temple. We have Puri Jagannath temple. It was dedicated to Lord Krishna and it was founded by Vishnu Swami. And he also established a religious school there. He followed very much, Vishnu Swami was the teacher of the Maratha saint Jnaneshwar, and he preached a system of philosophy which is dualistic like Madhva, but unlike Madhva, he recognized the worship of Radha. He wrote commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra, and Srimad Bhagavata Purana. The 14th and 15th centuries saw many other Vaishnavite poets like Chandidas in Bengal, Vidyapati in Bihar, Mirabai in Rajasthan, and Narsi Mehta and Gujarat. We have all heard about their poems, especially Meera's songs. In every music concert, we are able to hear the songs of Mirabai, pouring out her devotion to Lord Krishna. And Narsi Mehta, his famous song, Vaishnava Janato Tene Kahiye Jo Pida Parai Jan, it speaks about the true Vaishnava. So Vaishnavism was preached by Narsi Mehta. This Narsi Mehta song was taken by Mahatma Gandhi in his daily prayers. It became very popular. And 16th century saw the advent of two great Vaishnavite saint philosophers who built their own system of philosophy. One was Vallabhacharya and another one Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now Vallabha, he was born in Raipur in Chhattisgarh state, northernmost Chhattisgarh state. He was born there and he was well versed in all the systems of philosophy, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra, and then Bhagavata. He was very, very enamored by that. Even as a boy of 12 years, Vallabha established his mastery over the scriptures and philosophies, and he used to defeat many scholars in arguments. And he started his own sampradaya or spiritual tradition at Gokula in the Mathura Brindavan region. Vallabha's school of philosophy is known as Shuddha-Advaita. That is also means pure monism. Also known as Kevala-Advaita and Nirvishesha-Advaita. Nirvishesha-Advaita means nothing other than Advaita. He considered Shankara's monism as impure as it taught the doctrine of Maya. Because if you say that everything is appearance, not reality, that even the God that you adore and worship, it is only an appearance. The ultimate reality, Brahman, has no name or form. You adore and worship it in different names and forms, but you have to transcend these names and forms if you have to reach that ultimate illumination jnana. In Shankara's Marga, he wanted transcendence, even from adoration and worship. Of course, Shankara wrote a number of hymns on Rama, on Krishna, and other gods and goddesses, Bhajagovindam, etc. But in spite of that, his philosophy said that you have to transcend all these to reach the highest peak. the Advaita Kevala Jnana, and in that Advaita Jnana, you become one with Brahman. There is nothing other than you. You and Brahman are one, and all gods and goddesses and everything, Jiva, world, everything disappears in Shankara's monism. That was not acceptable to Vallabha. No, if you preach this thing, who will be interested in that absolute monism? No one wants. He wanted, therefore he preached Shuddhadvaita, the doctrine, rejecting the doctrine of Maya, and he stressed the Bhakti, their absolute surrender to Lord. That is what is needed. And who is that Lord? According to him, Krishna is the ultimate reality, total surrender to Krishna. Everything is Krishna, nothing other than Krishna. So that sort of philosophy he preached. He gave up his body in the Ganga in Hanuman Ghat in Varanasi, and his son Vittalanada, he succeeded him as the leader of this Shuddhadvaita school, Vallabha school. Next great saint is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya was born in Navadvip in Bengal. He promoted the worship of God, also Krishna, the ultimate reality, and he is venerated by followers of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. His school of thought is known as Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Chaitanya was a contemporary of Vallabhacharya and came under the influence of followers of Madhva and Bhagavata Purana, and was further influenced by the Radha Krishna cult. Chaitanya's very dearest attraction was adoration and worship of Radha and Krishna. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he promotes the study of Radha Krishna cult and adoration and worship of Radha Krishna. And he settled down in Puri Jagannath, where this Radha and Krishna are adored. He is a proponent of the Vaishnava school of Bhakti Yoga, devotion to God, Sri Krishna, based on the philosophy of Bhagavata Purana and Bhagavad Gita. These two scriptures he promoted, and his school of thought was known as Achintya Bheda Bheda philosophy of Vedanta. Achintya Bheda Bheda. You can't think. Achintya means unthinkable. Bheda Bheda. They are one and different. They are one, that ultimate reality, our Lord, but we are different from him. So his school, Abheda was the stand of Shankara, and Bheda was the stand of Madhva. Madhva said, Lord is different, I am only his slave. Here, this philosophy is Achintya Bheda Bheda philosophy. And the most famous work of this saint is called Shikshashtakam, adoration and worship of Lord Krishna, Shikshashtakam. Chaitanya Charitamrita of Krishnadasa Kaviraja was written 50 years later. Chaitanya's history was recorded by him. Apart from the saint singers of the Vaishnava sects, those who followed the Shakta Sampradaya, worship adoration of Shakti, Mahashakti, and practiced Sri Vidya. Adoration and worship of Shakti is called Sri Vidya, Tantra Shastra. We also saw that while studying Shaktism, we found that even great thinkers like Sir John Woodrow and others, they translated all the Shakta Tantras, Mahanirvana Tantra and Kundalini Tantra, all these into English. Sir John Woodrow, Arthur Avalon did a great thing, and adoration and worship of Sri Vidya, Shakti. The system of worship of Shakti is known as Sri Vidya, and it was promoted mainly in Bengal. Bengal became the center for these. And the people who are following Sri Vidya, Uma or worshippers of Uma or Parvati, to their class belongs poets of Bengal and writers of Agamani and Vijaya songs. The greatest among them was Mukunda Rama. So we find that apart from worship of Rama and Krishna, adoration of Mahashakti, that was also promoted in this Bhakti movement. And Mukunda Rama is the author of the great work Chandi. Just like Ramayana, Chandipad is on Durga. And Ram Prasad Sen was the most popular, famous songwriter in the 18th century. While this Bhakti movement took the form of worship of Rama in Maharashtra and other places, and Krishna in northern states like Vrindavan, etc., in Bengal, this Shakti movement developed. In each area, according to the inclination of the people, they developed this worship. So in Bengal became the seat and for adoration and worship of Mahashakti. That way we find that in the later days, great poets and writers like Bankim Chandra Chatterjee and others, they were all inspired by the adoration and worship of Shakti. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee sang about the motherland in the form of Mahashakti. So that developed there. While these developments were taking place in the north, in the south, we find in Tamil Nadu, the Shaiva Siddhanta taking deep root. It's Bhakti movement. There, Rama is worshipped in Maharashtra, Krishna is worshipped in Vrindavan, Shakti is worshipped in Bengal, and in Tamil Nadu, adoration and worship of Shiva became more prominent. Therefore, it developed the Shaiva Siddhanta. And most prominent among the leaders of the Shaiva Siddhanta movement was Taimanavar. And following him, there were 9 more in Tamil Nadu who promoted the adoration and worship of Lord Shiva. Even today, in Tamil Nadu, worship of Shiva and his sons Ganesha and Kumara, they are more popular than the worship of other gods, Hindu gods. The salient features of the Bhakti movements of the latter age are the belief in the Supreme God of love and grace, Bhakti. Individuality of the part of the soul. They considered the soul, it is a part of the divine, not the whole of the divine. And salvation through total surrender and worship to that ultimate reality, to the divine, we become one with that. So, these systems placed bhakti above jnana and karma. We found that the Vedic philosophy, Upanishadic philosophy stressed jnana, and the agamas and tantras, they stressed on the karma, various rites and rituals. Here, they were superseded and a total love and surrender to the divinity was presented. Now, After this development of Bhakti movement, one prominent evolution was, one of those in the Bhakti movement we found Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak Deva, he created a new cult, Sampradaya, which is known as Sikhism. So we find out of this Bhakti movement in North India, especially in Punjab, this Sikhism developing. Guru Nanak, his date is 1469 to 1538. He appeared on the scene when Sanatana Dharma was declining because of the onslaught of the Muslims, propagation of the Muslims and the onslaught of the Islamic invasions, etc. It was a period of decline for the Sanatana Dharma. And at that time, Guru Nanak appeared on the scene and he became a very great teacher. He founded the system called Sikhism. It was a historical development of the Vaishnava movement started by Ramanuja. He followed the footsteps of Ramanuja. And the Sikh scripture, Guru Granth Sahib, it consists of verses from various songs and poems and written by the other saints of the Bhakti movement. We found their songs were all taken and incorporated in Guru Granth Sahib. Kushwant Singh, a famous writer, he says, almost 9/10 of Guru Granth Sahib, composed largely by Guru Arjan Dev, is in fact Vedanta and the essence of all that you read in the Upanishads and the Gita. So that means Sikhism is nothing but another form of Vedanta, and it derives the message from Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. And the most prominent sect among the Sikhs, they are known as the Udasis. Udasis is an ascetic order of the Hindu Naga Sannyasis. Hindu Naga Sannyasis, they live a life of total renunciation. They don't even wear clothes. If you go to Kumbh Mela, you will find a separate pathway is given for them, because the Naga Sannyasis come there stark naked. Though thousands of people go there to watch them, prostrate before them, they just besmear some ashes on their body or something. Sometimes even if that is not there, they come stark naked and march at the time of the Kumbh Mela. We have seen that. So these Naga Sannyasis order was founded by Baba Sai Chand of the Sikh Sampradaya, and Baba Sri Chand, he is the elder of the two sons of Guru Nanak. Nanak himself had predicted that the religious sect to be founded by his son will be popular all over the world, and he himself had initiated Baba Sri Chand. Sri Chand initiated Baba Mohan, son of Guru Amardas, and later days he bestowed his gadi or succession to Baba Guru Dita, a householder and son of the sixth Guru, Guru Hargobind. So a system of gurus developed. The 10th one, in that system of gurus, the 10th one was Guru Govind Singh, we find later. So these Udasis are usually celibate, and sometimes they wear ochre clothes like Hindu sannyasins. Some of them wear only kaupina, that is that loin cloth, nothing else apart from the loin cloth, with sacred arts besmeared on their body, and sometimes they even walk naked. Baba Guru Ditta's four disciples established the four dhunis that constitute the akhadas. Their group is known as group of sannyasins are known as akhadas. Akhada, today the word akhada means a gymnastic center, but actually it is a congregation. Akhada means a congregation of sadhus and sannyasins. And a Bhakti Sanghai founded by Bhai Feru with the permission of Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Guru, established Chota Akhada. These are all famous groups of the Sikh sects. They pay reverence to Guru Granth Sahib. All of them, they pray Granth Sahib. Actually, in the later days, this Guru Granth Sahib, it became the object of adoration. Just like we keep the pictures and idols in the shrine, they placed the Guru Granth Sahib and started adoring and worshipping the Guru Granth Sahib. And it was known as Adi Granth. Sri Ramakrishna was very much inspired by this Guru Granth Sahib, and Swami Vivekananda was attracted by the clarion call of the Sikhs. Vahe Guru. Vahe Guru means well done master, that is the meaning of that. So that slogan, adoring and worshipping the master, of course Vivekananda himself adored Ramakrishna, and he followed that slogan of the Sikh Gurus, Vahe Guru, well done master's victory. And this Sikhism, which developed in later days, it became the sword arm of Hindus. When Islam was in its ascendance, the Mughals, they started destroying Hindu villages, Hindu temples. Almost all the Hindu temples, they were targeted by Islamic invasions, etc. And at that time, somebody had to emerge to protect these temples, and Sikhs became the protectors or the sword arm of Sanatana Dharma, the sword arm of Hinduism, and not only Hinduism but also of the Hindu nation. They wanted this land should not be subjugated by the Islamic invasions, the Mughals, and therefore they took up arms against the Muslims, and that was a period of clash between the Sikhs and the Mughals. We find that Guru Arjan Dev, the fifth Guru of the Sikhs, he was tortured to death in 1606 because he stood against the Islamic fundamentalism, fanaticism and imperialism of Jahangir. Guru Arjan Dev's grandson and the ninth Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur, was cut down by the sword of the fanatic Muslim ruler Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb killed Guru Tegh Bahadur, and Aurangzeb, who was the grandson of Jahangir in 1675, every patriotic Hindu today hails the martyrs, especially Guru Gobind Singh, the son of Tegh Guru and the 10th Guru. Right from the age of 9, his life was a saga of heroism and sacrifice, and he unsheathed his sword when the devil dance of unrighteousness under the hellish rule of Aurangzeb spread a veil of darkness over the land. Guru Gobind Singh lost his mother, wife, kith and kin. His elderly sons, two sons, they fell in the battlefield, and two younger sons, Zorawar Singh and Fateh Singh, we have seen in the history that these two little children, they were made to stand on a ground and brick walls were built around their body. They were buried alive in the tomb, brick tomb. And the Sikhs proudly declared, Sir diya par sirar na diya. These children, they gave their head for the sake of motherland and for the sake of Sanatana Dharma, but they never gave up their religion, their culture. Guru Gobind Singh recruited his workers by holding a Chandi Yajna. All the commandants, how he selected his commandants, Sikh commandants, there was a system of selection. He said, he didn't tell them the purpose of his holding that yajna, but he said, those who are prepared to give up your life for Chandi, come forward one by one. So the brave Sikh soldiers, they came forward one by one. He bundled them into a small shrine, a room, and after selecting the enough number of Sikhs, he brought them all out and he said, these people are prepared to give their life for the sake of the motherland and they will be your commandants. And that's how Guru Gobind Singh recruited his military commandants. In the later days, the British also established their rule in India, and there was clash between the Sikhs and the British also. We find the development of the Namdhari movement. The banner of freedom that fell from the hands of Guru Govind was soon lifted up by the brave Kukas, the Sampradaya Namdhari Sikh community. They developed a Kuka Sampradaya under the leadership of Sadguru Ram Singh Kuka. This Kuka uprising, it is a very well-known part of India's freedom struggle. The earliest freedom fighters against the British, they were the Kukas of Punjab. The Kuka uprising was perhaps the most major valiant effort during the British period, immediately after the end of the first war of Indian independence. 1857 was the first war of Indian independence, where we found Rani Jhansi, Tantia Tope and other great leaders becoming martyrs. And immediately after that, the next great uprising was this Kuka uprising. And the most important date, January 13th, 1872. Today is the day when the Namdaris went to Bahini. Bahini is a Sikh center, the birthplace of Ram Singh Kuka, for the celebration of Magha Mela. They celebrate that Magha Mela there. They got that in Melarkota, a place nearby, the Musalmans had killed a cow. So killing of a cow, which is most sacred for the Hindus as well as to the Sikhs, it was a very blasphemous act that the Musalmans did. And not only they killed a cow, they took the blood of the cow and sprinkled it all over the body, over a Sikh soldier. And therefore, the Namdaris wrote in mad rage, they rose in revolt. And at that time, the British had a fort. The British officers were trying to suppress these Namdari Sikhs, and they attacked the British fort, and their fight against the British imperialism started there. A 10-year-old, it is a very important event that is recorded in the history of this Namdari movement, that most of the Namdaris were killed or they were captured, and there was one young boy, one young lad, 10-year-old lad, who was captured, and the British officer, he had no mind to kill that little boy, and he tried to bribe that boy. Boy, I will give you everything, food and everything. Boy, you give up, you come with us. A British officer came in. He asked the boy to surrender. That boy sprang on that officer for insulting his guru, and ultimately he was cut to pieces by the Britishers. The leader of this Namdari movement, Ram Singh Kuka, he was captured, and at that time, just like Andaman Nicobar's Brahmadesh, Burma was the main jail, prison for all those who were captured by the British. So he was sent to Burma. The later movements of Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, they got inspiration from Guru Nanak and his followers. Ramakrishna, during the period of his interaction with Sikhism, he spent time with many Sikh Nanakpanthis, and one of the popular among them, Udasi Totapuri, one who belonged to that Udasi Totapuri, Sampradaya, Totapuri initiated Ramakrishna Paramahamsa into the Sikh form of worship imparted to Ramakrishna, the Sikh esoteric instruction, efficacious for removing impediments on the spiritual path. Swami Vivekananda, who succeeded Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, introduced his writings, the Sikh slogan, Vahe Guru. The Bengal reformist movement, it received inspiration from these Udasi Sikhs, Nanakpanthis. Even in Maharashtra, the impact of Sikhism was felt as the Hindu emperor Shivaji's Guru Samartha Ramadas met the Sikh Guru Hargobind. So Samartha Ramadas had his contact with Sikh Guru Hargobind. He met him in Kashmir and he was inspired by the latter. So Sikhism is a part and parcel of Hinduism. Swami Harshananda, in his magnum opus Encyclopedia, a concise encyclopedia of Hinduism, he says, whether Sikhism is a part of Hinduism as enunciated in the Constitution of India or a separate independent religion depends on the way one looks at it. Today, in the Constitution of India, just like Hinduism, they say Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, they are separate religions. But most of the enlightened Hindus and Hindu saints, they are not prepared to accept that. Sikhism is part and parcel of Hinduism. Harshananda says, if its acceptance of the theory of karma and rebirth, samsara and mukti, jnana, bhakti, when you consider all these things, they are part and parcel of Hinduism. Sikhism borrowed from Hinduism. Its rejection of the Vedic religion of sacrifices, that is only the reason that is pointed out for considering it as a separate religion. Even Buddhism rejected the Vedic sacrifices. Nindas yajna videera hahastudi jadam sadaya hrudaya darshita pashugadam kesava the Buddha sarira. In Jayadeva and Gita Govinda, he says that Buddha is none other than Lord Krishna himself, who had taken that avatara when Sanatana Dharma, it misused, and Yajna Vidhis, the sacrifices, the holy sacrifices, they were distorted, and killing of poor innocent animals were brought into the system, animal sacrifice. At that time, Buddha came to put an end to that. So, it is only a development of Hinduism. The ignorant act of the Hindus, they were prevented by Buddha, and he himself was a Hindu. So, our Dalai Lama says, I am proud to declare that Buddha is a Hindu. I am a Hindu. Buddhism is nothing but part and parcel of Hinduism. That's what the great leader of the Buddhism says. But here also, Sikapandis, when we formed the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, there were great Sikh saints, Master Tara Singh and many others. They openly came forward to join hands and participate in the program of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. Even today, many of the Sikhs, they are members of Vishwa Hindu Parishad. So it is nothing but a part and parcel of Hinduism. Even among the orthodox schools of Hinduism, the Sankhya rejected God. Sankhya philosophy, Nirishwara Sankhya it is known, it rejected God. The Mimamsa stressed only the rites and rituals, and Vedanta stressed knowledge as higher than the rites and rituals. So they were all part and parcel of Hinduism, and therefore Sikhism is also a part and parcel of Hinduism. The Ramanuja Siddhanta was totally opposed to the caste distinctions. It is said that Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism, etc., they destroyed caste among the Hindus. Caste was a very big force in the Hindu society, and they destroyed this casteism. But even Ramanuja did that. We find that when he was in Srirangam, he used to go to river Kaveri to take bath, and while returning to the Srirangam temple, he used to put his hands on the shoulders of low caste Hindus, some menials on their shoulders. He will put his hand and then come to the Srirangam temple. He wanted these menials to be admitted into the sanctum, into the temple. It is a very famous moment of Ramanuja of bringing all the poor and downtrodden people into the temple. The Guru Granth Sahib, the Dashama Granth and the metaphysics of civism, after discussing about it, Harshananda says, it is thus seen that Sikhism and Hinduism have many things in common. It is also a historical fact that Sikhs have often fought for and even sacrificed their lives in defense of Hinduism. So Guru Govinda Singh, Guru Arjan Singh, Guru Tegh Bahadur, all of them gave their life to protect the Hindus and to protect Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism and the Hindu nation. But the Britishers, they played a very cunning game. They wanted to divide the Hindu society into groups. Unless they destroy the unity of the Hindus, they cannot hold on to the British Empire there. And therefore, they started propagating that Buddhism is separate, Sikhism is separate, Jainism is separate. This division among the Hindus into different religions, it was promoted by the Britishers. But if we look into the samskaras, just like in Ramanuja Sampradaya, they have that Samasaranam, they put the mark of Lord Shanga Chakra on the shoulders and give initiation, etc. A same system is adopted by the Sikhs also. It is known as Kap. 5 samskaras that a Sikh undergoes at the time of baptism. Kutch, wearing short trousers. It is a Sampradaya that they brought all these into Sikhism. In the Ramanuja Sampradaya, we find the symbol of Vishnu is marked on the shoulders, and Pundra wearing this Nama, and then the Lord's foot giving a spiritual name like Narayana Dasa or Govinda Dasa to the disciple, imparting the 3 mantras of Ashtakshari. These are all in Vaishnavism. A similar method is adopted by Sikhism. Swami Vivekananda adored Guru Govind Singh, who brought back to the Hindu fold through Sikhism those who were converted to Islam. The greatest thing that Guru Govind did, that those who were forcibly converted to Islam from Hinduism, they were brought back as Sikhs by Guru Govind Singh. And even the great Hindu saints and sages, they hail Guru Govind Singh. Mahakavi Subramanya Bharati has written a big song praising Guru Govind Singh, glory of Guru Govind Singh. V.V.S. Iyer has written the biography of Guru Govind Singh. Saints like Guru Nanak, Kabir, Ramakrishna, Shirdi Sadi Baba, all of them looked upon various ways of worship. Even Islamic and Christian way of worship, They accepted. If one has to worship in that way, let him worship, he will reach the same God. That's what Ramakrishna said. Even in Ramakrishna mission, you find in some places the cross and the crescent, etc., they keep in the Ramakrishna temple. So he accepted all forms of religious worship, and this is a cult. Now Sai Baba cult, they also have accepted adoration and worship of these symbols of Christianity and Islam. But none of the other religions, Christianity or Islam, they ever accept this. They consider those Hindus who have this symbol of Christ in their shrine, they are heretics. And the Muslim will say that they are kafirs. Brahmabhanta Ubhadhyaya, a very enlightened Brahmin, he became a saint. He was in the forefront of India's freedom struggle, and he established an institution called Saraswati Ayatana in Calcutta. Sister Nivedita was very close to him because Ubhadhyaya was the devotee of Swami Vivekananda, and Nivedita was close to him. In the Saraswati Ayatana, he put Jesus Christ in the sanctum sanctorum and all Hindu gods and goddesses as Parivara Devata. And he taught, he celebrated Deepavali, he celebrated Ganesh Chaturthi, he celebrated Chandi, Saraswati Puja, etc. The Christians condemned him to setting up a temple for Jesus Christ and you are celebrating all Hindu gods and goddesses. And he proudly proclaimed, I am a Hindu. My Hindu dharma allows me freedom to worship God in any name and form. I am an admirer of the form of Jesus who sacrificed himself for the sake of humanity, and therefore I have put him in the shrine. But I have accepted only Hindu ideal of adoring and worshipping all saints, and therefore he proudly declared, I am a Hindu. And not only that, he had a journal Sandhya. He wrote powerfully advocating for the freedom of this land and emancipation of the Hinduism. The British government, they ordered his arrest because he was in the forefront of the revolutionary movement and many revolutionaries were inspired by him. When the British were about to arrest him, he wrote in his magazine, he said, if you try to touch me, I am a Hindu sadhu, Hindu sannyasi, I will not languish in your jail. Before entering your jail, I will give up my body. And when the British police came to his ashram, he called his disciples and told them, tell those police officers to sit there. I am going to do meditation for some time. And the Shishyas told that my master is going to do meditation. Please wait for some time. And he went into meditation. After 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, he was not coming out. The British police officers, nothing doing. We are going to arrest him. They crashed into the room and he was in a sitting pose. When they touched his shoulders, the body fell. He did pranopavesa. He was such a great Hindu saint and he admired all forms of worship. So, whether it is Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism, all these are part and parcel of Hindu way of life. And in the later days, now in the coming classes, we are going to see not only Ramakrishna Mission and other such enlightened institutions set up by Vivekananda, and then Rajaram Mohan Roy. Rajaram Mohan Roy set up that Brahma Samaj. He had Keshav Chandra Sen. They had great inspiration from Jesus Christ. They adored and worshipped that form. So how these later movements, it created a universal school of thought for the Hindus, accepting all forms of religions and cults, even those that have come from outside, that we are going to see in the coming classes, beginning with Brahma Samaj, Adi Samaj, and Ramakrishna Mission and other institutions, how these modern religious movements came in the post-British period. They all developed after the Mughal invasion, British invasion. These schools developed. We are going to see in the next class. Jai Shri Ram, Vande Mataram.